Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the law changes for Maryland. If you don't know me, hello, my name's Michol. I am the founder of Notary Training Network, and I provide notary training services in the Maryland area through virtual workshops. So if you're a Maryland notary, please be sure to join our Facebook groups, Baltimore Professional Notaries and Typics, and also Maryland Professional Notaries and Notary Signing Agents. So we're just going to get right into it because notary laws for Maryland just changed for the first time in a long time on October 1st. So we're going to be talking about some things that you can do, some things that you can't do. And then if you're looking to get more in depth, you can always send me an email at info@notarytrainingnetwork.org, or you can register for one of the upcoming virtual workshops. So let's start with what you can do as a notary. So the general powers allow you to take an acknowledgement, take an oath or affirmation, witness or attest a signature, or certify or attest a copy of record on an item or an item that was copied. That refers to when you're doing the remote online notarization. You can certify a tangible copy of an electronic record that is an accurate copy of the electronic record. That applies to if and when someone is asking you for a copy of the audio visual recording that you did for a remote online notarization. The education mandate that was supposed to be a part of this new law doesn't actually go into effect until next October, which is October 1st, 2021. For some notaries that I've seen that are bilingual, you cannot advertise yourself as a notario publico unless you are licensed to practice law. The translation does not translate the same way in the United States with the powers that those types of notaries can do in foreign countries that are Spanish speaking countries. You are now allowed to take an expired ID card. Prior to October 1st, any customers or any signers that needed to get a notarization completed did have to have a valid unexpired ID card. Now you are able to take an expired ID card, and that's not just because of COVID regulations, that's part of the new regulation. You are allowed to take expired ID cards. Now, if you're doing remote online notarizations, it's possible that the platform that you're using is not going to allow the signer to use an expired ID card. So you want to verify that they do have a valid government or state issued ID card. Another big change, signers can authorize another individual to sign on their behalf in front of the notary if they are incapacitated but are not under any type of duress. Sometimes they may be paralyzed or whatever the situation is that they are not able to write on their own. They can direct someone else to sign on their behalf in front of the notary. Now, this is not allowing a power of attorney. This is just someone that's authorizing someone else to sign on their behalf in front of the notary, and then the notary will also acknowledge and document as such in the journal. So, for example, if John Doe, was signing on behalf of Jane Doe in front of the notary, because let's say Jane was hospitalized for whatever reason. So the notary would accept the signature, and then on the acknowledgement form, the notary would include something with the wordings along the lines of John Doe signed on behalf of Jane Doe in front of notary on such and such date. If you want more information about that, you can look on page 18 in the new Notary Public Handbook. It has not been updated on the Secretary of State website as yet, but you are able to view it if you have a current updated address with the Secretary of State, or you can email them and ask them to send you the updated copy of the Notary Handbook. Also, you want to make sure that they have your correct contact information, because as of January 1st, 2021, all of their communications are going to be going out electronically. So you want to make sure that they have your correct contact information so that you get the first notification of the news or any changes that may be going on with the website as far as the regulations and their rolling out. The big change that a lot of notaries are excited about is it allows for remote online notarization. Now, the big thing with this is effective October 1st with the law change. Um, the previous requirements under COVID that allowed you to use some type of web conferencing software is no longer going to be accepted since the law has changed on the 1st. You do have to use a platform provider that allows for a notary to use remote online notarization. Zoom is not legal in the state of Maryland for remote online notarizations. So if you're looking at the different platform providers to see who you can use, you want to make sure that you have one that is not using Zoom because we're not allowed to use Zoom. This list is updated on the Secretary of State's website. So as of today, October 2nd, the providers that you can use that are authorized in the state of Maryland are Doc Verify, Notary Log, Nexus Technologies, Notarize, Notary Cam, Pavaso, Signex. They actually have a group on Facebook, so you can look them up. It's SIGNIX. And the last one that's currently approved is Simply Sign. Most of these platforms honestly do not cater to notaries who are looking to do just general notary work. They are mainly set up for notaries who work with real estate transactions or real estate companies to get the loan documents done. So you want to make sure you do your research because it does take a little bit of an investment to get started with any of these providers. You are able to utilize more than one provider, but you want to make sure if you have a digital certificate, your digital certificate is transferable between platforms because some of the platforms require you to get a digital certificate that they provide you with. Other platforms require you to get your own digital certificate. So you want to make sure that's something that you look into. Notary Cam, I know for sure, did have a list. They have started hiring notaries in Maryland. Notarize, I believe, is not hiring any notaries in the state of Maryland as yet. But since the law did just change on the 1st, yesterday, it's possible that they will make an announcement sooner rather than later that they are allowing notaries to sign up to work on their platform. Most of these platforms, you do have to market yourself and go and get your own customers. Some of them require you to do a certain amount of signings before they automatically send work to you. Most times notaries don't think about that part of it and they think the work will just come to you. The only platforms right now that are providing work for notaries to do notarizations are notarized once they start in the state of Maryland and Notary Cam. So that's something that you want to make sure once you're looking to see what the different platforms provide, that they have what it is that you're looking for as far as startup costs, fees associated to complete transactions, training, because you definitely want to make sure you know how to use the platform. From my own personal experience, some of the trainers on these platforms aren't very good trainers. I'm just, gonna keep it real. They give you a script and they expect you to learn it on your own, which is good if you find somebody to practice with, but it definitely takes some practice to do. So don't think you can just jump in it and start today and be great tomorrow. No. You have to learn the platform, you have to learn the technology, you have to learn how to use the platform correctly. A lot of times the signers or the customers don't have the proper technology to complete a remote online notarization. And then if you're going to be doing it, you want to make sure you have either a large enough monitor or two monitors so that you can share the screen back and forth between you and the signers. So that's something that you want to look into as well to see what they offer and how they keep their records, because you are required to keep a copy of the audio-visual recording for 10 years. You're also required to keep your journals now for 10 years. So whether you're using a electronic journal or whether you're using a paper traditional bound journal, you are required now to keep it for 10 years. So you want to make sure that they provide that as well if you're going to be using an electronic platform. Another big thing, your notary stamp must include your jurisdiction, which is the county that you received your commission in. Maryland notaries are allowed to notarize throughout the state of Maryland and within the Maryland borders. You can notarize for documents that are from out of the state, but any notarizations that you do, you have to be within the state borders of Maryland. Also, on your stamp, it has to have your commission expiration date. Before, having a commission expiration date on your stamp was optional. Now, as of October 1st, it is mandatory. Like I mentioned earlier, you also have to have your journal for 10 years. It can be electronic or it can be bound together with page numbers. I see some notaries still just have their journals as pieces of paper together. So you want to make sure you're compliant when it comes to how your journal should be. If you're working in a place with multiple notaries, you should each have your own journal. You shouldn't be sharing a journal. And you should have your own stamp and take your stamp in your journal with you once you're not working. Or if you're going to keep it at work, make sure you have it locked up so that no one is able to get access to it when you're not there. Each and every notarial act must have a notarial certificate attached to it. This is another big thing because before October 1st, there were some notarial acts that did not require any notarial wording on it. So now, as of October 1st, each and every notarial act has to have a notarial certificate on it. You can either attach a loose certificate, or if you prefer to have a stamp, you can use a stamp with the notarial wording. The Secretary of State does provide examples of what should be on the wording for your stamp or for your loose certificate. So if you look in between page 22 and 25 of your the new notary handbook, it will have examples on there that you can use for guidance in what you need to do. If you're going to be using, or if you're interested in providing remote online notarizations, you do need to apply through the state to make sure the state has your registration, and also to let them know which platforms you will be using. You are not going to get a separate commission number to identify that you are allowed to do remote online notarizations, but you can provide your certification on any platforms that you sign up with to let them know that you do provide that service. And then lastly, the Secretary of State did put out a free online learning tool. So that's something to prepare you for the education mandate that's going to be coming as of October 1st, 2021. It will require that you take a course and pass an exam either before applying for your notary commission for the first time or before renewing your notary commission. So that's something that's out there now to give you a heads up of how that would work. It says it's about 90 minutes, but it really doesn't take that long. It's self-paced, so you can go at it as you please, working through the different modules. If you have any additional questions, feel free to shoot me a message. You can send me an email, and we can have a discussion, or you can book a one-on-one mentoring session if you need any additional clarification. But I look forward to seeing you succeed, and I'm here to help you if you need me. Again, my name is Michol, and thank you for joining with me today.